So then,
Unpause my recording, so I forgot to unpause my recording, so this
okay,
is the end of our meeting. Sorry, not complete end, but Julie forgot to unpause the recording, so it's starting on 5.2 for those of you who are watching this later.
okay. But they've been able to hear what we've been
Yes,
talking about.
definitely.
Okay,
Very-
okay.
Yeah.
So on anything else on summer school?
No, that's it for me anyway.
Yeah, we're hoping to be able to actually bus kids, so
Okay.
that would be
Does
it.
anybody on the Zoom, Julie, have anything to add?
No, Kara, Jill, do you have anything to add about summer school?
No, thank you.
5.2, virtual options.
So did you print off that? Did you want me to print this off?
Yeah, print, can you?
I can.
Mrs. Behrens is virtual this week, so this camera is in the other room.
Okay. So I did some research on virtual options. It's not me.
It would me. I think I only printed one though, so see,
I didn't know you could print it.
I didn't know either, but I can, apparently on this computer. It's printed right there, but I only printed one. Or is that not what you wanted? I can,
So the first one, so this is just 3 ones that I knew about. So the first one comes from Norwalk, Ontario Wilton principal or admin Travis Anderson. I have not investigated this out of Oregon, but this is what he says about it. Our students had the opportunity to enroll in the virtual option. They did K-5 and 6-12. The district supplied the students with a device, which we could do as well. They had hotspot, district paid for all courses. Somewhat expensive, but it was the best option at the time. So I will reach out to this Kim Anderson yet. The one thing that I think is true for all 3 is that someone here has to enter the grades. So you get the grades from the virtual school and then you enter it into our Skyward. The systems don't go together.
Okay.
And again, we're thinking of only 9-12, not elementary for sure. Like the elementary teacher, no way. And let's see. There are challenges with any online platform. So that's one option. And again, I will reach out to this Kim Anderson more specifically. The next part is this Brad Ebert, who today I did talk with him. He's from Kiel and he had reached out to Julie. They have a 660301 or something partnership. And again, I didn't talk to him until 2:30 today, so it's not what is in this document. So
Okay.
I told him it's high school specific. They've been doing this since 2002. They have about 30 to 40 of their own students that do it. It is a partnership agreement, so they're enrolled in our district. We collect the state aid. Kids can participate in our co-curriculars, okay? We sign a 660301 agreement. Bottom line, it costs $4,700 per student for a year.
And they are totally virtual.
Yes. So it is, we can reduce that 4,700 by 350 by providing our own Chromebook. Okay, so it would be then 4220, 4250. So there is a little bit of proration. Say a student starts in September 1st. If this child returns to our own school, like our brick and mortar, before the end of the semester, we're charged $29.24. So if you enter as a virtual student September 1st, we do all the paperwork, whatever, and September 30th, you're like, yeah, I can't do it. The district's out $2,900.
Okay.
If the student stays past January, the semester, then it's the full 4,700. Okay. I asked him about if it were for by credit or by course or by, whatever. And he mentioned 12 credits, which was, I'm like, there's only 8 hours in a day, but I don't know if they might be block schedules, so they might have a different, so anyway, we'd follow our own credit system, so to speak. They do require, and so does, the next one is Wisconsin Virtual School. Somebody in Ithaca that is the coach or the connecting person between the kid and the virtual school. He mentioned frequent talk about student progress. He gave me, there's a person, Katrina's her name, she's the lead, been doing it for 15 years. She oversees it, plus 2 other administrators. Minimally, they meet monthly with the partner schools, which to me isn't constant communication, but that's what he said. There is no cost to join it. It's straight per person, per student, where some e-schools do require an extra like administrative cost to be a partner. They will present to school boards and give examples of kids' work and stuff. And he mentioned that Iowa Grant is doing that. He also mentioned that Weston has inquired about this. They do take special ed and have seen success for students that have autism. But the district, we are still responsible for IEP accommodations. State testing, the student still takes the state testing in our building. It is asynchronous, so it's independent. And he said teachers are constantly watching the pacing, communicating with parents and students and scoring projects, so on. But then when I asked specifically, what's the amount of time that a student can interact with, what's the minimum interaction of every week, student and teacher, and he didn't know. And then I also asked if these teachers were strictly virtual or if they were classroom teachers and virtual also, and it's a mix. Some are just e-school, but most of them also teach brick and mortar, whether it's in his building or other. So they're part of this cohort, an e-school cohort. And so they've partnered up with other teachers. So like I could, if I wanted to be an e-teacher, I could reach out to Keel and be part of that group, even though I'm here. So it's Keel teachers and other teachers from other districts that are e-teachers. He did say that, and they have a K-8, they have a K-12 system. And K-8, those kids get an hour per week with teacher time, where the high school does not. He did not know, he didn't think there was the same expectation. I said, could it be by course? And he said, it could be by course. It's $390 per course. He wasn't sure how that would work because when a child would choose this, they have to fill out open enrollment papers. So I'm not, he mentioned that. So
There's a lot of unanswered questions.
neither was, but I only talked to him for half an hour.
Right.
He's gonna email me more information. I asked him if there's any districts, Randolph, Dodgeland, and Mayville. And I said, okay, you're on the wrong side of the state.
Well, they are. Yeah.
And there is nobody over here, but he did say that. He said, I mentioned, I'm like, okay, Richland, Platteville, and I'm naming districts. And I said Weston. And he said, oh, what's his name? And I said, SIFTA said, oh, yeah, he's required. Because, there are 2 Westons. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's all I have on Keel. So it is an agreement. Basically an open enrollment agreement, it sounds like to me.
That's not the same thing as a 60,
Okay.
630, which is
Where we
kind
get
of
part
weird.
of it But it does sound, because when I talked to him about by course and being a part-time, he mentioned open enrollment. And so then to me, that kind of changed a little bit, I guess, so. And since I don't know anything about e-schools, everything was new to me. So that's the second one. So then the third one is Wisconsin Virtual School, which is what Richland Center uses. It is asynchronous, so it's independent. Again, this is, and I did talk to a lady, you know, I was on the website with her too, but I did talk to her. 1 hour a week of face-to-face time with all students. So it's all the kids in that class on Zoom. So it's not like just Kelly and the teacher, it's whoever, the 20 kids or whatever in that class. But they can call or email the instructor. They can set up individual Zoom meets. All the teachers that are in the Wisconsin Virtual School work for a district. So these are teachers that already teach, maybe full-time, maybe not, and then they do this also. The district enrolls the student, so we do the work on putting them in Wisconsin Virtual School. It's $290 per course per student. So if you take 300 times 8 credits, that would be, you know, $2,400, which he thought he was cheap. So I'm like, well, it didn't match up to me. But again, I don't know if they never mentioned like an administrative fee. So there's a 28-day grace period. So student enrolls for September 1st, can drop within 28 days. Nothing, no fee. The student is there on the 29th day and they're charged the full amount. Okay. We need 1 Ithaca staff is to coach for students, receive communication, progress reports, etc. Wisconsin Virtual sends course completion percentage. Then Ithaca makes a final decision on grade and enters it into our system. So when she was describing this to me, it sounded a lot like our Acellus. So like on our Acellus that we already have online courses that are asynchronous, so the kids are on their own. Like I know I've overseen, like there might be 400 lessons in a course. And so, you know, get to the end of the year and say the student finished 375 of the lessons. So it would be on, at what percentage correct, it would be on us to determine the grade for that course. That makes sense? Okay. There are AP course offerings. Then, I don't know if I linked anything in here. Oh, I linked the virtual school itself. So they mentioned, here, course list. Ooh, my computer is slow. An e-tech is like an electronic book. And apparently, like a parent can choose Wisconsin Virtual School as their school, right? Not be affiliated with a brick and mortar building. If it's the parent that does it, there's electronic books and that the parent has to pay.
And they're also responsible then.
Right, but if the school district pays for the course, then those electronic textbooks are free for the student. Like we don't have to pay for the book too. We pay, if the district pays for the course, we get the e-tech, but if a parent.
That makes sense.
Okay, so course list. I mean, there are literally, I could be able to work my mouse. Here we go. But, so these red, and I don't know enough about it, these are NCAA, which has to do with college. So Chris was trying to explain it to me because they're NCAA approved. I'd have to look into more of that. I don't think it matters with what we're trying to do, but I think in bigger districts, maybe it does. Free, they do a free 12-lesson student orientation course to kind of show them how to work the system. It does work very well with Chrome and Chromebooks. IT support, along with frequently updated whitelist. So a whitelist is like, Adam has to approve sites, you know, like websites and stuff, so they don't get blocked. It does have credit recovery included, credit recovery courses. if a student needs face-to-face, this is not the method for them. Student must be a willing worker and independent learner. There are caps, like number of kids in a course, but it depends on the course. Some have a cap of 10, some 30, some 300. Kids can enter courses at any time because it's asynchronous. So like tomorrow, a kid could enter and still have you finish by June 15th or whatever the end date is. So similar to what our Acellus is, but there is a teacher behind it, where the Acellus, there's no teacher behind it. So that's, those are,
So this is, and this again, we're talking high school.
yeah,
So then I do have a virtual question.
sure.
I think we can talk about it because it's virtual options. And, so I think one of the things that with curriculum and what the board was thinking, what about if we have some families come fall that still want to stay virtual, even in the elementary? Who's going to do that?
So that's gotta be a decision at the
board
board
decision.
level.
So we were hoping, and admit, you know, we talked a little bit about it. We really feel that instruction on brick and mortar with the kids in school is best for K-5, maybe even 6-8. But if we were to have this online option for the kids, because some kids just thrive in that environment, and we don't want to not let them have it.
Right,
But this whole year has been very taxing on the staff.
right. That's my concern. Are we going into the fall thinking or expecting that staff will be doing both?
So
And
I
that's-
don't. In
Okay.
elementary, we have right now 4 kids virtual, that's it. And it's 3 families. That's it. So in fact, I had a staff meeting yesterday and I said, what do we want next year to look like? What do we need to focus on? 5 days scheduled, 5 days per week, no hybrid option. Well, then I went on to no more plastic barriers.
Normal, we want everything to go back to normal and,
So,
you know,
And I don't, so I guess both, so Wisconsin Virtual School and Kiel, they have it K-12. So I guess if a parent wanted to, I would want to have a conversation, because with the teacher, the current teacher, because that teacher knows this child best. Myself, the parent, what is best for the kid. Now, if it's some medical reason, okay, or if the kid has thrived, we do have one of our elementary students who's been virtual all year. He is thriving, like this is his thing. And that's where the Kiel guys said they've had autistic children be very successful, because if they have social anxiety or whatever, being virtual takes that away. So now they can be themselves and
Just
learn.
Yeah.
So I guess in that case, but I do not want the staff to be expected to do
Okay,
both.
and that, I think that was that.
And so that's why
at
we're
the
looking
board
at.
level was definitely a concern.
Yeah.
And I think at curriculum, that's where we kind of needed to start talking about that.
Mhm.
We can't continue.
No.
We're gonna get through the end of this year.
Right.
But then there just has to be.
And that's why we're looking at outside, companies that already do this. So
Right.
if your child and a 10th grader you really want it, okay, this is what this is how you can do it and still be an Ithaca student.
and then you can be in the fair and you can
Yep.
come for.
Right,
for
right.
the-
Well,
all the
just like the
software things.
homeschool.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Just like the
But
kids that
the
homeschool. they can-
homeschool,
We don't get to count the kid.
Right. So we don't get any funding.
Correct.
so just so the board knows too, I mean, we have probably 20 kids that remove themselves from our school to homeschool this year for various reasons. And
Well,
so-
and many schools had many. They
I know
either
that.
opted to go somewhere else
Right,
or.
these
they
are strictly
homeschooled.
homeschool. These are
I
not
know,
go
but I
somewhere
know
else.
Reedsburg lost a tremendous amount
Yeah,
of kids.
so I'm hoping,
So-
I really hope that we can recoup, them, but, so no, I mean, as curriculum level, I would propose to the board, we do not do hybrid virtual at all. if a student or family wants virtual, we do one of these options,
And that's why we're researching all the different options.
right? You know, and it's gonna cost money, but if we don't have virtual option and a child or family really want it and we won't offer it, they're gonna open enroll somewhere else to get it because it's available, so,
Right. Well, and they can open enroll now.
right?
Some parents did that.
They
They
did.
went to Viva, so.
Right, yeah, so. So I would like to, you know, I want to learn more about this Keel thing, probably reach out to this Oregon a little bit.
So at our meeting, it would basically be that we're looking at the 9 through 12 courses that are offered. It's still being looked into with the different expenses.
Right.
At this point, we're seeing 3 possible options.
Mhm.
I think is that enough information to give the board? Because there isn't a whole lot.
Well, and I think too, just that we're investigating it because, one, I'm going to dissuade, or whatever the word is, the board against having a hybrid virtual within our own.
Correct.
But if we want to honor
And we
the
can
families
bring that up.
Huh?
I mean, that can be brought up.
Yeah,
in-
we want to honor the families that feel virtual is best for them so that
Right.
they can retain it.
Any questions, Kelly? 5.2.4, equity update. Monthly discussion / sharing.
I don't know why that's on virtual options.
I don't either, but it's on there, so.
Anyway, should be its own.
Machine, yeah, changed the agenda after we had it finalized, so.
I didn't put the equity on there, but.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I didn't.
Well, that's all right. We can just table it. It's not a big deal.
It just needs to be, we're gonna put equity ongoing.
Yes.
Just that we had our last professional development, you know, that's our focus this year, and
Okay.
it can be a challenging conversation, you know? Yeah, so it should be its standalone as well, not part of virtual. Did you have anything to add, Julie?
No, I think it's going well. Some equity issues are coming up and bubbling up, and the more I hear, I'm like, oh no, we really need to fix this. But you always start with your own self and where you are on the journey. And you have to acknowledge it. You're raised with biases, and that doesn't make them wrong,
Right.
but you have them just by being raised by a family.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But then you know, when you get a child that's different from your biases, how do you acknowledge them? And so we're kind of eking forward on that a little bit. We have so many really nice shares,
Yeah.
staff share stories. They've really been vulnerable and open and honest, asking questions, and it's been a little eye-opening for us.
And it is something across the state. All districts, all communities are working on. I have a cousin who's lives in Madison, and she talks a lot about what happens at Madison Public School System and the equity there and how they're working to advance things. And yeah,
And they're bringing up questions that we don't have answers for.
right.
So what happens if we get a student that is in the middle of a gender change?
Or just, you know, thinking about things, you know, how do we respectfully discuss and, you know.
Yeah.
And it's hard, especially, you know, it's just hard if it's something against your bias, the way you were raised or whatever, and to then try to open your mind to accepting and things like that. So it's good conversations.
Yeah.
Okay, 5.3, school nurse.
So I asked for this to come to board level. So is Brandy or Skyla will come to the finance one because they couldn't come to tonight. So Skyla is our school nurse on paper. She's about 5 hours a month. I feel very strongly that we need to consider this as a bigger position. when I look at our health records of our students, we have some students with significant need if something were to happen. And thankfully, we've been lucky, you know, and Mary Jo has done a really good job over the years. She knows the laws, she knows what you can do, can't do. As she retires, that we won't have that historian right there. Then there's some legal things I think that Brandy wants to talk about. Like right now, we do not have a medical advisor on paper. So our EpiPens expire at the end of this month. We cannot get any more.
So and not to interrupt,
Yep.
I do have the question, why is this on curriculum
And
and not finance?
I did not put it on curriculum.
Because,
What's the teaching and instruction?
I don't know, I think I threw it on there because we needed to talk about it. It's, as of right now, it's not on
It's on
finance.
finance. It is on finance.
Is it on finance? Okay, I have so many things on finance right now, so it's,
Yes,
sorry.
yes, we did notice that.
That's not finalized quite yet there.
Right, okay.
I guess I was thinking that this is, to me, right now, it's become, and Kathleen pointed out, we haven't maintained records for a long time. We've never had a full-time person. Even when we had a health aide, that person did not maintain records. We've never had a doctor on record. And that's something we should have, and there's only so many things you can get done in any one year. We've never needed that person before, so that's one of those things that gets pushed off. School nurse, it would be really nice if we had somebody that would maintain all the records. We are gonna have 2 youngsters that have major health needs next year. So I can see why Kathleen is worried.
Okay,
To have somebody here more often can help us with the children, help the teachers learn what they need to. I can see that. And to me, that does affect our teaching and learning.
okay,
So,
okay. But I think like with wanting more hours and things like that, to me, that's a personnel, and I might be wrong. A personnel and finance, but
Yep.
then if there is this added, just like with the COVID, I mean, it became more of an instructional,
yeah,
that this is what you have to do. And so you're actually instructing the staff, but the actual nursing position.
It is, and again, I had asked Julie to bring it to the board level.
Okay,
I don't care where it came to board level.
okay, okay,
So it's here and it's also on finance.
okay, so we can.
But yeah, so Skylar came in and did EpiPen training a month ago or so.
Yep.
Um,
and we had that last year too. I'm trying to get stuff done at the beginning of the school year. There's only so many hours at the beginning of the school year that you can do training, so.
Okay. And then definitely if it's on finance, then
Yep.
that's where we really need to talk about
Hours and wages.
hours and
Yep.
things like that. Okay, any more questions on that?
I'll wait, I'll save it for finance.
Okay.
I don't have questions.
5.4, Orton Gillingham training.
So I asked Andrea this is something that, so I don't know if you're aware, like the science of reading, there's a shift. Kind of I never thought I'd be in education long enough to see that full circle come, but here it comes, right around. So Orton Gillingham, so I'll let you, this is Andrea's, I asked her to just kind of write up what the Orton Gillingham is. So it's a multi-sensory approach that incorporates phonemic awareness, phonics, decoding, and encoding the writing. It can be incorporated into any program as well as it can stand alone. Andrea would like to begin by taking the comprehensive Orton Gillingham training because it focuses on the beginning reading stages. It's a full 5-day training. Cost is $12.75, but the training includes the training and assessment manual, recipe for reading book, all these other things. 2-year subscription for their online planning tool. I would learn how to administer their informal criterion reference assessments, phonological awareness and strategies, multisensory strategies for reading, writing, and spelling, 7 syllable types, and so on. We have more and more students with attention issues and various learning styles. I feel our students would benefit from me having this training. Her sister highly recommends and has seen great gains with her students using the Orton Gillingham approach. So part of it is to have Andrea, she is our coach, and so that's the next, coaching and training. To have her, learn the training and then be able to train the teacher. So this year, probably in the last 4 months, 3 months. So I have monthly staff meetings. So once a month, one Wednesday a month, I have a monthly meeting, and then 2 Wednesdays, Andrea meets for half an hour with one Wednesday with the K2, 4 K2 staff and one with the 3-5. And is basically helping them learn how to teach phonics, how to teach, because those are things, what we found is all of us at undergrad level did not have good instruction in it. We were told to do it, but not like how to do it. So Andrea has done a really great job of, she's in 95% group, she's in Deb Glass, she's in all these really good reading groups and learning and reading, and then she creates slideshows and meets with the staff. So yesterday we had a meeting and I don't know which group she met with. So what we're finding is, if they can't, it starts with the sound, and then the letter identification and the phonics. And so she's really building a strong foundation of instructing, how to instruct that way, all the way through. Like we have kids that at 4th grade don't know all their phonics. Well, that affects their ability to read. If they can't decode a word, then, so she's helping those upper level, those intermediate teachers learn how to do phonics at that level, because we think of phonics as the little kids. Well, if they don't get it, then we still have to be doing it. So anyway, I was talking with Julie about it. Again, we want the board to know kind of what we're doing, and
Okay, and I think curriculum's approach can be that it will be beneficial for our kids.
oh
But
yeah,
to me, this should be in her budget.
it is.
It is.
Okay,
It is.
okay.
Yep.
So,
Oh yeah, no, this is just an explanation of,
okay,
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I'm not asking. Oh, there's my dog.
What the heck? Well, we see her quite often. He's got his own
Okay.
chair.
All right,
So basically, we'll just talk about how that ties in and goes together and the benefits, and that she has put that in her budget.
yes. Please shut the door, Emma.
All right, certainty, I'll just go on because you went on to 5-6, yes?
Yes,
All right, certainty is an option that because we bought Schoology, certainty is in that list. And so we just want to promote it more. Should I print this too?
The catalog,
Yeah. Oh,
it's like 20 pages.
so certainty stands for just something, it's distance learning. And if it works well with our students, some of them are completely free for, like, they have AP Calc. We don't have AP Calc. So if a child wants that rigor and wants that, they could take AP Calc, excuse me, through certainty. There's 4 different AP Calcs, so they could fit it where they want to on their
From
schedules.
different,
and we've talked about this before.
Yes,
All
So-
the benefits.
yes,
so, some cost, like Julie said, some cost, some don't. These are live classes. So the students, it has to actually fit into their time schedule. We've talked about where the student would go, so if it's during, let's say it's second hour and a teacher has a small group and I'm taking a certainty class, but it's not that content. I might sit in the back of the room with my headset on and be able to, but if I have to talk, interact, then we use areas in this room for that.
Okay.
The one thing that I wanted it brought to so we can offer it, and it's been available, but we haven't really advertised it, but we have students that here's where it gets tricky. We talked about AP courses and our weighted grades, and David's the only one that comes. So this could, I just want it known, this could, let's say kids started to, yeah, I want to take AP, because if they do well and they take the AP exam, right, that bumps them into college, you know, it affects when they can enroll and all that stuff. But it also couldn't affect the numbers in our own classes. If we had some motivated kids that wanted to do these and not take one of our classes by our teachers, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just want that known, that by offering other options, you know, there could be downfall. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah.
Well, but for the classes we offer, I mean, even if we only had 2 kids in it, we'd still have to have the teacher.
Right.
Right.
So,
Yep.
so that doesn't, I don't
Yep.
see what the downfall would
Okay.
be.
Okay.
I would think that, you know, if a student wants to do it, they'd be encouraged.
Oh, definitely. Yep, definitely.
And I mean.
Yep.
And that's just the way it is.
And our own
And maybe with this COVID and some of the kids that have thrived with the virtual, we may see more of this.
And they could do this versus a full virtual schedule
Correct.
at a different, say, Wisconsin virtual.
Space might become an issue.
Space is always an issue here.
I know, but now if you have to find
Right.
where they can interact and be quiet, because you've got things going on in here,
Yeah.
Right.
it's got to be where
And they have to be supervised, you know,
where
you
they
can't.
can, yeah.
So, I just wanted it, we're gonna offer it, you know, let kids, you know, look at it and then again, it goes back to policy on who pays what.
Yeah, and we figured it was the same as, like, if they wanted to take the college credits, we allow so many credits per semester a year and
Right.
so many for their high school education. So if we need to write a separate policy for this, we can, but we'll be guided by what's already in policy.
So with something like this, where an extra cost is involved, do they have to maintain a certain grade
Yes,
or otherwise they have to pay?
I think so. That's a different
So-
policy though, so.
yeah,
But I mean, that could be incorporated
Yeah, it
Yes.
would be.
so that you're not just putting the headphones on and doing something else.
So do we have a
Or paying.
contract when kids do like college course? Do we have a contract that they sign with all those rules?
yeah.
We do.
Most of them are written by the university itself.
But we don't have our own. So if you
We don't
If you
have
don't
our
get
own, we'd have
it,
to
then we should
develop them.
probably do that. I think, and I know Hillsborough does, like they have to sign a contract if they do even a CELIS type of course.
And some of these don't have any cost,
Right,
but some of them do. And
Right.
I don't know why or why not, you know, they're just providing a service. And I think if the teacher teaches
Right.
3 classes and they, you know, they want, that's an added extra. Our teachers also could be on here and teaching their classes at the same time. They could do an asynchronous learning if they wanted to. But when I put it out there, nobody wanted to, you know, add to their
right.
class. And I'm not downgrading them out.
Right.
I'm just saying it's a possibility. If I taught, you know, special ed,
And as far as
algebra.
compensation, that could be that, I mean, if they were to do that, you know, something to think about. But like, you know, take for example, first hour, a student could take AP English, Lit, and Composition. So that would be, and then if you took the AP exam, right?
then when they graduate, they would be that much closer to
Yeah.
higher level classes.
Right. Okay.
And there are quite a few that are free. There are some that are, you know, cost money, but
And I think those where there's money involved, that it needs that contract.
yeah, I think so. And I think not only from that, just from us, like, and when you can drop.
And that the parents also know that they're taking it and
Right.
that they also are aware of the contractor.
Whether it's paid, there's money involved or not, they should be aware, so.
Yeah, right, because you want to make sure that they're not just checking out.
Well, and there'd have to be, I would assume, communication between us and them, similar to these other, you know, who's your learning coach? Who's the coach on our staff that keeps track and communicates with all these different.
So then that's a question, as long as you brought that up on this,
Mhm.
because it was also on here.
What's there?
Well, when we were on the virtual where the school needed to provide that coach, then I would presume that that would be
It could be
a
just about anybody.
compensated position.
It might be. So right now we have a combination of, like, we have students on Acellus. And so Mrs. Thompson and Mrs. Kirshner right now monitor those students.
Okay.
But we do have a high school teacher that doesn't have quite enough classes. So that would be, maybe that would be a period that
And we've done
person is.
that different years when
Sure.
kids were
Sure.
taking, I think we've had kids years ago take classes like this. Because I remember when Sandy Davies was here, she, either this or maybe it was Acellus, she would, one of her hours was to help kids.
Okay.
And next year, we're gonna have that combined sixth grade. So that frees up some
Okay.
periods there. And they might, maybe they take a study hall and the high school teachers take the class. We don't, I don't know. We don't even know if we'll have.
If
people
you'll
that
have the interest.
So, but having said that, if somebody wants to do this on their own time and check up on all the kids, and if it happens to be during their prep or after school, whatever, we could potentially compensate them for that.
And that's what, like, these Wisconsin virtual, these teachers that are brick and mortar teachers as well, they're doing it outside their hours. So when I talked to the Wisconsin virtual school lady, she said often the teacher student taught, like Zoom was in the evening, like 7 o'clock at night, because the teacher is teaching all day in a classroom. So, it could be a similar situation where, all right, these are my 5 kids that are taking this virtual class, and we're gonna meet on Wednesday at 6 or whatever, not Wednesday, Thursday
Right,
at 6,
right.
but again, to have that in a contract that says, this is your expectation, and you will.
Okay, is there anything else on that? Any questions? And the next is set the date for May 6th, which we've already done.
Yep,
It's been set and approved.
yep.
So then a motion to adjourn. I'll second it. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
So Linda, before you leave, what do we want on the next agenda?
Well, I think we have to keep pursuing with summer school.
Okay,
Um,
and